right, everyone, we are live. Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. This is Iyab from Ethio Diaspora Hub. We are here today to have a conversation about, showcasing promising Ethiopian startup companies. I'll be your host here. All right, let's give it a couple of minutes for participants to join us. Can you all hear me well? All right.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. All right, can you hear me? All right. Looks like we have some feedback here. Our video is frozen. Not sure. All right, welcome everyone. We'll start our program today. Thanks so much for everyone who's joining us here. We are here to have a regular program that showcase about promising Ethiopian startups. I have here a couple of amazing people who do a great job that will be showcasing today. Today's event was possible in collaboration with Pangea Accelerator and StratEdge Africa. Thanks so much for your collaboration, guys. We'll be hearing soon with Jonas Tesfo with the Pangea Accelerator. He will address us some of the things that the company is doing in terms of hosting the startup companies, helping them to build app, followed by we'll also have a chance to hear from Kindeya Gabriel with StratEdge Africa. We'll have also a chance to directly hear from the vessel one from Tolo Transport. They will be showcasing about their startup company and things that they are looking from a collaboration perspective from the diaspora community. And I will have also a chance to hear from Kirubel for GlobeDock Academy, who will be also showcasing his innovative work on the tech industry. As usual, I would like to take this opportunity to shout out for our partners. Shout out to the Voice of Africa, who's our partner all the time. I will have also a chance to present in the Ethio America Chamber of Commerce. the African Diaspora Network, the R&D State Global, Ashwa Technology. I also work closely with Equal Trade Alliance, Debt Ambulance, Lifeline Addis, and Ethio Legal Shield. With that, I'm going to give the opportunity to Jonas Tasfu to say something about Pangea Accelerator and then about this program. Thanks so much. I'll give the chance for Jonas.
Thank you so much, Eob. Much appreciated. It's really great that you're organizing these kind of platforms where the diaspora can meet some of the movers and the shakers on the ground, like Tolo and GlobeDock. Very short, my name is Jonas Tesfaye, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Pangea Accelerator. We've been working on the Scale Ethiopia program now for a while, and a lot of our vision as part of Pangea is really to be the co-founder every startup wish I had, or developing the next generation of African entrepreneurs. We've been working now since 2018, facilitated over 40 million investments, worked with soon 400 startups, and we work in many different parts of the African continent. So far, we've done over 15 programs in over 10 countries. We have about 60 investment partners that we work with. Pangea on its own is structured as an investment company, which means that for us to make investment, we just need to have a meeting through our investment committee. But we also have investment vehicles on the side with other investors. Those take a little bit longer time, but we also make investments with those vehicles. Very short also about our lead investor called Asini Capital. They're a family office and they're the second largest investor in Pangea. But we do really high impactful companies and also projects together. One of them is Learnio, which has enabled over 20,000 freelancers to be educated and trained. And they have made over $250 million in income, basically been generating salaries. So the whole perspective of Learnio is really how do you create financial independence and how can you democratize that? So it's not only tied to living in America or European countries, but countries where people are black and brown and other colors. The other one is Lisa Hospital, which is a 100-bed hospital in Kisumu, but we also have a clinic in Bangladesh. And then we've been doing diaspora investments since 2018. These people you see here, they're mainly from Norway and Sweden, but so far they have 2,100 return of investment, 2,100%, which is quite funny when you want to give money back to the continent and put money in the hands of young Africans. What can happen? Yeah, they can grow it. Imagine that. So it doesn't need to be charity or looked as like donation. We can look at this and change the narrative fully. If you're interested in speaking with any of them, I can also connect you. Some of them also are operating as angel investors and want to continue investing into other African businesses. Now, I want to speak more about Ethiopia. So why scale Ethiopia? And the reason is, let's look a little bit around what's happening on the African startup ecosystem and investment data, right? So Africa is pulling in billions in investment, which is great. Now for this year, from 2024 to 2025, it went up 40%. So now we're back over 3 billion again. That's good. So we hit 3.2 billion, which is good progress. Now, this is where I really want you to look at. Ethiopia should be much higher up. The question is, where is all this money going to? And which economies is it fueling? And you can see Kenya at 32%. You can see Egypt at 20%, South Africa at 19%, Nigeria at 11%. But when you look at Ethiopia, you will see that it's actually somewhere between $1 and $10 million of the funding received. If you compare that to Kenya, which is close to almost $1 billion. So why are Kenya, a country with half the population of Ethiopia, receiving about, I don't know, I can't count, like 100 times more in investment, something like that, in round parks? This is what we need to change, because clearly Ethiopian entrepreneurs are doing some amazing things. Even if you speak about regulatory headaches, or maybe there's some issues, it's not that. It's not a factor of 100. So it's clearly an underestimated and undervalued asset that we as as part of the diaspora, need to look into and to invest in. The other thing that's really I'm very happy about, which is that we're having a unicorn race in Africa. Before 7 years ago, we were waiting for the first unicorn. This is a company that is valued over $1 billion within 10 years. So it started off like with InterSwitch, you had Flutterwave, you had OPay, etc. But now you're starting seeing that actually, they are increasing in frequency. And we're soon at over 10 unicorns on the African continent. And soon we're going to see the catch-up effect. Catch-up effect means that we go from 10 to 30 or 50. And that's going to happen a lot faster than people think. So if you're an angel investor, if you're part of the diaspora community or part of the angel investor community, I think this is a good time, because this shows that we're way beyond proof of concept. When it comes, can you build scalable businesses? It's been done again and again and again and again. So now that's not going to be questioned. So I think this is also a moment that we've all been waiting for and should be celebrated, in the sense that it's not a unique case. It's becoming more and more common. Now the issue is, how do we start getting this process happening in Ethiopia? And how do we get some of the Ethiopian horses into this race? Because so far it's very dominated by Nigeria, Kenya, maybe you would say Egypt. So we need to get Ethiopia visible on this race. Now, a little bit about Scale Ethiopia program. So a lot of it is focused on facilitating growth of Ethiopian SMEs through diaspora and private investment. A lot of focus has been on investment readiness, pitch coaching, exposure towards the diaspora communities. But we also help businesses with other things as part of the tactics, getting new partners, improving on the business model. So I guess we don't believe that there's one solution fits all. So we kind of tailor the support tied to, what the businesses need. Now, these are the different businesses we've been working with through the program. And today we have the fortunate of having two amazing startups. I'm a big fan personally of this, both of them. One is obviously GlobeDock, which I think is so needed within Ethiopia. Education is essential. It's a foundation for any nation. And looking into what other opportunities exist within technology to better facilitate education systems, I think GlobeDock is doing some amazing work. The other one is Tolo. And I'm not going to speak too much about this startup because we have the founders here. They can describe what they do much better than I can. But looking into the e-bike market in Africa, people, please, e-bike, look into it. I mean, please, if anybody just can Google like road Saigon and then see how many motorbikes you're going to see on that road and how few cars, or any street in any Indian big city. What you're going to see is for basically every car, there's like 10 motorbikes, okay? There's a reason for that. That is called economic productivity. This is something that Tolo will speak more about, okay? So I'm not going to spoil the water. Now, why is Africa in a very interesting position to invest in? There's a few things that's happening that I think should be, that you need to look into. Number one is the Africa Free Trade Agreement. I know it's been a lot of talk about it, but we need to understand, if we can get 54 countries to work under one umbrella with free movement of goods, people, and services, that would radically transform how you can grow a business on the African continent and how you can do trade. Why is this important? We do some things on the African continent that makes no sense. One thing, we import more coffee than we export. How is that possible? When Ethiopia makes the best coffee in the world, you have countries such as Kenya and Tanzania. It's because countries that don't produce coffee, they import it, and they don't import it from African countries. They wait for the Ethiopian coffee to be sent to Europe and America, and then they import it from those countries. So the whole aspect, if you look at opportunities within, intercontinental trade in Africa, it's currently 17%. Europe have 70. Asia is up at 60. So we can grow the African economy 500% simply by trading with other brown and black people. Imagine that. How easy that would be, right? So that's how the future will look like for the African continent in terms of opportunities. Can you do business with other black and brown people? I'm pretty sure we can. Number two, the China factor. So while we have Trump in the US that is threatening with tariffs left and right, China is going with a zero tariffs approach, and they're going to be stable on this. I think this will single-handedly be the largest export opportunity for African businesses for a long time to come. Third one, this is an effort for Europe to move from aid to trade. It's called the EU Global Gateway. The ambition is to invest $300 billion. But if you're in a diaspora community and you live somewhere in Europe and you own a business and you want to see, can I do something with my business that is registered in Germany or somewhere else with Ethiopia? Now, this is a great opportunity. Then just check out EU Global Gateway. They offer a lot of different opportunities for continental trade, specifically between Africa and Europe. With that said, if anybody's interested in hearing more about Scale Ethiopia, you can check out our website. I also know that Ethio Diaspora Hub have some of the businesses up on their website, where you can also see what they're currently doing and get in contact with them. I also want to do a big thank you for Ethio Diaspora Hub, GIZ Investment Partners, Startup Community, and many more. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jonas. As usual, it was a very interesting conversation that we have now. I'll continue to the next speaker. Will be Kirubel Akalu. We will be talking about the GlobeDock Academy. Kirubel, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Eyob. Thank you very much, Jonas, for the amazing presentation. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So let me start off by introducing myself. My name is Kirubel. I am a CEO and founder of this edtech company that you see on the screen called GlobeDock Academy. GlobeDock Academy was started about 3 years ago with the mission to help make quality education accessible to Ethiopian students at an affordable cost. Let me start off by telling you some numbers. These numbers are validated by research, so when you hear them, please don't be shocked. The first one is by grade 4, more than 10 million students cannot read or do basic maths in Ethiopia. This means about age 10. The second is after learning 18 years in the education system, 97% of Ethiopian students are failing the grade 12 national exam and are not passing to college. The third thing is even those who graduate, 70% of them are being unemployed or underemployed. This shows that we have a foundational problem in our education system, and that this is not just going to be a quick fix, but it should be a fix that should be done from the grassroots, and we should just reimagine learning. So the three main problems that our startup GlobeDock has identified and is working on is the first one is the one size fits all approach. As you know, in our classrooms, especially in developing countries and low resource areas, one teacher is going to be teaching 50, 60, 70 students with no one-to-one help, assistance, tutorials, and 50, 60 students have their own way of learning, and it's completely different. And this is causing a huge problem for the students. The second thing is the Ministry of Education Ethiopia says that they have about 60,000 teacher vacancies open that cannot be fulfilled. This is not just a shortage, but also those who are hired. There are so many teachers who are undertrained and also undercompensated. So the teacher area has a huge problem. The third thing is the outdated teaching methods. The world is changing, the pedagogy systems are changing, the instructional designs are changing, but our education system, we have, I think we have about a million, about 800,000 people working in the education system, and bringing all of these new advancements is not going to be very easy for the government because it needs a huge cost to change and train all of these people. So the solution that we are bringing to the table is we are making the smartphones and tablets and computers the personal tutors for students, and we are building an adaptive learning system that is an offline first with localized contents. When I say localized contents, I'm going to show you our platform next, so you are going to be familiar with it. Can you see my screen? The platform?
Yes, we could see it. Now it disappeared.
Okay.
No.
How about now?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So we have digitalized the whole national curriculum starting from grade 7 to grade 12. So, for example, a grade 9 student, wherever they are in the country, today, if they, for example, learned biology and they have not understood some concepts in it, that might be, I think, for most of you who are in the US or in developed countries, you can think of this as Khan Academy. I think many people know Khan Academy. So we basically built Khan Academy for Ethiopia. So, for example, a student learned biology today on Unit 2, for example, and we have digitalized the whole national curriculum starting from grade 7 to grade 12 using video lessons, notes, assessments, and different rich resources that, so if a student goes to a classroom and didn't understand the concept clearly, now they have a resource that they can come home, log into our platform, and get the best teachers explaining to them clearly in detail using very good pedagogy systems. And our goal is actually not just to explain the concepts for the students, but it's to make them fall in love with learning, because the way our teachers teach is sometimes much better than what they get inside of their classroom. So, as you can see, for example, this is Unit 2, Grade 9 Biology Unit 2. We have broken down this into subunits. And let's say this student went to school today and learned 2.4, and they haven't understood this specific concept. So they will just open the lesson. We have video lessons. I will also show you we have notes. So this is our teachers explaining about the concept. Most of our teachers are very experienced and subject matter, with both subject matter expertise wise and also pedagogy wise, well trained. So we have this kind of teachers teaching. So this is a glimpse of what our platform looks like. And to go back to our presentation, you can see my screen, right? Okay, now it's on. So the market that we are eyeing, we have about 54 million students who are school aged and who are going to school right now, from K to tertiary education, and 8 million of them are connected to the internet. And with the platform that we have built, we are planning to have at least 2% of this market, about $3.2 million of an annual revenue market opportunity. And to give you a few tractions, we started about 3 years ago, and we started on YouTube, and this number is actually outdated. We have now grew our YouTube channel to be more than 250,000 subscribers, and we have more than 130,000 mobile app downloads, and about 4,000 paying users currently, and we're working to expand this to 10,000. To give you a quick testimonial of one of our students, for example, this student that you see here, this is a video here, but I will just explain what she has said. This is a student in northern part of Ethiopia, in Tigray, in Shire, and she said that our platform is not just a tutorial for her, but it's like a school for her, because she's learning under a tree. They don't have a school because of the war, and she's learning under a tree, and that she's using our mobile app and the resources that we have prepared for her as a school, because she can't get this kind of teachers in that area, So it's a huge opportunity and support for her. And she's just one. We have thousands and thousands of students all over the country, from north to south, east to west, students using our platform. To go into our competitive advantage, the biggest competitive advantage is the agentic AI content engine that we have built. We have built an agentic AI system that, for those of you who are not familiar with agentic AI, agentic AI is like building a workforce of AIs. So we have trained multiple AIs that work with each other to generate us content. So we have a very cost-effective way of content creation that we are also eyeing even different curriculums in different African countries to scale, because this AI system is really efficient and scalable. And another big advantage that we have is the local language instruction. When we teach, we're currently using Amharic. We're working to scale to Oromifa, Tigrinya, and other languages too. And when we teach, we're using Amharic to teach. And this has actually created a huge advantage for the students, uh, because there is a huge English barrier for students. The teachers don't have a good English proficiency. The students don't have a good English proficiency. The teacher is trying to transmit a concept, a science, a maths concept using English. And then this English is creating a big problem. We collected about 2,000 feedbacks from students asking them on which language they want us to teach, and they actually selected their local language. And yeah, because of that, they are really understanding the concepts very easily. We also have a very strong team of more than 55 individuals in the education team, in the technology. I can quickly show you our organizational structure over here. Yeah, can you see my screen? So we have about, you can't? Okay, okay. How about now?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So we have about 55 employees working in our organization right now, and we have a very strong technology team, which are working on the technology, on the adaptive learning. We have AI engineers. We have a very strong education team comprised from different experiences in curriculum and education and pedagogy, instructional designing. And we also have a very strong growth team working in different angles. But one of our strong supporters is Carnegie Mellon University from the US. Their learning science for innovators department is advising us in technology, education, learning science, learning engineering, because if anyone knowing Carnegie Mellon University, they are one of the biggest universities in the US, and they are really supporting us in training and supporting us in different aspects in the organization. To go back to the PowerPoint. So we have raised about $260,000 up to now. We bootstrapped it ourselves about 3 years ago with $80,000, and we have received funding and grants from the Mastercard Foundation and the Ethiopian Diaspora Trust Fund. And we're now working to raise another $300,000 to finish our adaptive learning platform that we're building. And to give you a little hint about this adaptive learning platform, it's going to be one of the things that's going to be changing the education system across the world because of AI. Up to now, for the past 500, 600 years, our education system has been one size fits all. One teacher stands in the front and 50, 60 students learn. But this adaptive learning technology is going to be acting like one teacher for one student, and this it's like a race right now for many edtech startups. And we are hoping that we're going to be one of the first startups in Africa who's going to achieve an adaptive learning technology with the national curriculum, and students would be using it to learn inside of their classrooms. So we are raising about $350,000, and we will be able to reach 30 1,000 paid users with this funding, and we will be able to expand to 2 new languages, to Oromifa and Tigrinya, with this funding. Thank you very much for everybody who listened in, and Job and Jonas for facilitating this. I'm going to give the floor back to you.
Wow, that is amazing presentation. Thanks so much, Kiribel. This is really something that Ethiopia needs most, especially with this information era wherein everybody's talking about AI. You guys are already in it and working to really benefit the community. So I have a big respect for this. Congratulations and keep up the good work. We'll be very much happy to really take this to to diaspora ears and eyes so that they can really see the opportunity in terms of investment. Not only that, but also giving back to the to the community. So hopefully we're gonna get more support from the investor point of view. We will do our best to really make sure that you got what you need. So thanks so much. Now, without further ado, I'll go to now second speaker. Will be Kendaya Gabrawat. I'll give the floor for you, Kendaya.
Thank you very much, Job. And pleasure to be here. Love the presentation, Kiribel. First and foremost, I would like to thank, Job and his team at Ethio Diaspora Hub for putting this wonderful event together, perpetually doing so. And it, I've been such a fun for quite some time now, so lovely to be part of this conversation. So what we're doing here today, actually before that, let me briefly introduce myself. I'm the founder and CEO of StratEdge Africa, among other ventures. StratEdge Africa is basically capital advisory covering the African continent, from SMEs and scaling up all to Series A, B, and later around companies, as well as a strategy and go-to-market advisory, for SMEs as well as, a bit mid-level kind of firms. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to zoom in and bring lessons from the wider Sub-Saharan Africa region into Ethiopia. And to give you a quick background, I have the pleasure of I've had the pleasure of working with businesses as well as run a couple of them in Ethiopia over the last 7-8 years. So I'm talking from first-hand experience when I share some of these insights. Okay, without further ado, let's get to it. So this is the Ethiopian startup ecosystem. Give me a second. Yeah. So it is growing. What we're seeing is I would say last 5 to 8 years, give or take, we've seen quite a number of tech hubs, incubators, investment avenues open up. There's a startup act that came into place. We'd love to hear more about a discussion about that later. We've seen government initiatives supporting entrepreneurship in place, some of them getting ratified, but lots of conversation are going around on how they're going to materialize in action. But still, very much a very positive step to take, in support of startups, great startups like Tolo and GlobeDock here. So it's a great place to be. It's not a place that's saturated. So that's when investors would need to be. It's not when things are really solid and much later in stage that, if you get a new return, it's not going to be as much. So now let's look at some of the core mistakes, I guess, that hold true for Sub-Saharan Africa startups as well as Ethiopian startups. First is inadequate market research, right? So usually how I've seen a number of businesses operate is, founders or the founding team thinks there is a need, or a need is really close to their heart, and they just get into the market. Not a lot of research, not a lot of research around the competitors, the stakeholders, the regulatory landscape, as well as the economic fundamentals, whether what they have in mind really is going to play out on the field, right? And maybe what are the backups if things do not work out as they plan. Second is neglecting customer preferences, right? So what does that mean? Not talking to customers enough. This is one of the things we do at StratEdge, actually. we in real time across 5 social media platforms, we can track what your customers are talking about for you live. Like today, we can have a summary. We partner with real-time intelligence companies, you know, and thanks to that, we can provide such reports on a periodic basis, and we do that for actually even firms like DSTV and so on and so forth. We've done such analysis, because that's very much important. If the customers are complaining about a particular service, then you know, that will lead to a significant amount of churn. It's all about pattern recognition. You have to know what your customers are saying. If they are one-off, it's fine. If there's a pattern, then you're going to see a good number of your customers leaving, and for startups that can take you off pretty quickly before you can make your dreams come true. You know, overlooking networking opportunities. As a previous entrepreneur and myself, what I've seen is past a certain stage, it's not about your marketing that helps you thrive in our, you know, markets such as Ethiopia. It's also what your network and your champions are saying about you. Wait, hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
we can.
Yes, we can hear you.
How about the video?
No, it's frozen.
Okay,
Now you're
yes.
back.
Okay. So I was saying about what your champions and network are saying about you when you're not in the room. That's what makes you thrive, because that advocacy right there is what leads to phones ringing nonstop. Then you know your business is thriving. It's all about word of mouth. So do not overlook strategic networking opportunities. I'm not saying fill your calendar up with nonsense, you know, network and the meetings in the name of networking. I'm not a huge fan of that. But you need to be a strategic networker. Finally, failure to adapt to regulations. You know, I have seen in Ethiopia, for instance, funny enough, I've seen a new regulation come in effect on a Thursday, and there would be ramifications, you know, not so great ones if you didn't incorporate them or act accordingly by Monday. Just, I don't know, one business day later, and you'll have fines and so on and so forth, you know, facing you by Monday morning. So in such an unpredictable market, you need to have people and ears on the ground. Something changed, you need to hear it as soon as it changed. Otherwise, your businesses, especially as a startup with not a lot of resources, not affording to pay fines, very much important to do so. Okay, so now moving on. So thinking about regional expansion, you know, I got into StratEdge Africa because I was tapped by a few companies I worked with previously, global business development capacity, to help them branch out from Ethiopia, which I've helped. You know, so companies would like to do that for a lot of reasons, you know, to diversify, to have a hedge against some instability, you know, to just as a natural, you know, pathway of their growth, so on and so forth. So what have we noticed about, you know, this trajectory? How should companies strategically think about this scale up, right? So first thing, market assessment. Think about their local markets. You know, I'll actually wind that back a little bit. You know, a lot of companies in Sub-Saharan Africa have been grant-based for quite some time. You know, what does it mean? Grants from USA, grants from other development organizations, grants. Grants are not business. Grants are meant to be accelerating you. They're not money that you rightfully earned through, you know, economics, demand and supply. They're not a prediction of how you're going to scale. So you need to strategically think about that, because it's better to have a dollar from a customer rather than $10,000 from a grant. You know, if we're talking about like your likelihood of scale up, because then you have a proven business, a proven customer, most likely a repeat customer, you need to pay much attention to that paying us customer rather than chasing perpetual grants. One grant ends, another grant. I've seen that because I was in space already. A lot of companies even factor such grants in their valuation. Very much a wrong move to do so. So that's why it's important to pay attention to your local markets. Who are my customers? What's my competition? What are the economic conditions? If what you're selling is not a need, if it's a want, and if there are harsher economic conditions, even if it's a right thing to sell and it's in a downturn of an economic condition, you might be out of the market, or your scale up may turn out to be such a debacle. So you need to pay attention to these things in current and new markets. So Second thing, opportunity and challenge identification. Rank out your regional markets. Kirubi, I heard you're looking into African markets. Great. What are some African markets? Rank them out in their kind of like ease of scaling up to cultural similarities, regulatory similarities, partnerships already there. Maybe people like Jonas having great networks. I don't know, in Rwanda. Who knows? For this reason, I'll touch on it later. You need to pay attention to two types of investors: a classical investor and a strategic investor. A strategic investor is an investor that opens up their network, their value to you, versus looking for just X amount of returns on their money. Going forward, you have a business model development. I love hearing that, Kirubi, and others as well. We usually start as sub-Saharan Africans. It's just easy to go B2C, right? But later, the unit economics becomes much more interesting when you are B2B. Then maybe it makes sense for you to do both, or makes sense for you to zoom in on one. Know that, and don't assume that what you have currently in your market will repeat in new markets. What you have in Ethiopia, if it's B2C is working very well, in Rwanda that may not be the case. Also with this, if you're B2B oriented in a new market like Kenya or Rwanda or whatever, Uganda, remember B2B takes much longer to execute. We're talking about a business execution timeline of 6 to 12 months. You're not looking at, you go to a customer, they're able to close or make a deal with you, pay them money within 2 weeks of time. So very much relationship based. So that has, to factor into your overhead, how you think about your presence, which brings to, my next point, local presence establishment. If you are a local startup, if you are branching out of Ethiopia, for example, think about how much money you're willing to invest. Can you afford to rent in, let's say, Nairobi for 6 months, an office or a virtual one or whatever, Rwanda, Kigali, whatever. Can you afford to do that? Do you need to partner with someone on the ground? What makes sense economically for you until you prove a market and have a paying customer? That's a very much interesting, and actually your life depends on it in the new market. Otherwise, you might just, they call it, what is it? Runway, right? Yeah. So in a new market, your runway may look completely different to what your runway looks like right now. So the money that would take you 12 months in Ethiopia, because it's a brand new market where you don't understand a lot of things and you need to pay double or triple the money, it may last maybe 3-4 months. So very much, important to keep in mind. So do an ICA analysis. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but ICA basically means an institutional and context analysis. A lot of development partners do this model where they're trying to finance things in new markets. As a startup, you need to do that. What is the culture like? What are some of the opportunities or the threats? Just do a SWOT analysis. Within that, there is ICA because there is also the regulatory aspect of things. In Ethiopia, as I mentioned, regulation can be unpredictable. In Uganda, Rwanda, that may not be the case. Ease of doing business might be much higher. Think about that. I want to highlight something because this is very important as well. It's all about stakeholders. You need to know who is affected by what you do and how likely and powerful they are to affect what you're doing. So this could be partners. This could be clients. This could be regulatory bodies, competitors. Competitors could have they can have a bottleneck effect, right? Like they could literally tie up what you're doing if they have preferential treatment with some regulatory organization. So map that out before you branch out into this is not North America operating in, this is not Europe where we are operating in. Things even there, they are very much relationship based, and here they are so much relationship based. So be aware of where you're entering to. So yeah, I guess this is self-explanatory. I'm not going to spend too much time. For each type of stakeholder, spend time thinking about how you're going to approach them, and do not make this approach based. I've had businesses tell me, the stakeholder we need to care about is just development organizations and embassies. That's not a business model. that's a grant-based thinking. You need to step out of that, because you have to think about who are my clients on the ground who are going to pay me X amount of dollars for my service, not people's willing to sponsor that, because that's not sustainable. What about when the grant runs out? What about 6 months later, and people who benefited from your service for free, now you ask them to pay, I don't know, $3 per month, and they can't afford to do that. Then you need to rethink your business model, and you're paying overhead. That's not the wisest thing to do. So I have already discussed this. So I want to briefly touch on this. Pricing is very important for startups. That's what we advise startups. We're very much detail oriented, as you guys can see. So pricing is important because it talks about who you are, what you're offering, which is also consistent to what I have been saying. Know your economics very well. Together with that, know your unfair advantage very well. Is it money? Are you willing to put in money like it's nobody's business? And 3 years later, it just becomes a success because you have outspent every competitor out in the market. Is it networks? Know your unfair advantage. There's a book actually called Unfair Advantage. I'd advise every founder to read that book. For that reason, pricing needs to be consistent with that strength and with your brand value. If your brand value is affordability, or your brand, you're trying to be the most affordable ethic or whatever company you are, and you're trying to price yourself at a higher margin, people will have a clash in their mind. What are they trying to do? So look at this. Just some interesting information from Ethiopia. Average markup needed to cover operational costs while being competitive is about 30%. The person down how much money people are willing to spend for a higher value product is about 75% more. So if average, let's say a leather bag is selling for 2,000, people are willing to spend, another 75% more. If you think about it, that's how I like to think about it. But but this is 75% of customers are willing to pay more. But people are willing to spend if that's where you are excelling. 20%. Wait,
okay, good. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just want to remind the time. Sure.
Yeah. So distribution strategies, business model is another thing you need to think about. Is it direct sales? Is it utilization of online platforms? Local distributor partnerships, as mentioned earlier. Is it also feedback mechanisms? Together with your pricing, your distribution have to make sense. If your pricing is high end, where you're distributing needs to be high end. If you're, if it's a unique economics that makes sense, where you're distributing needs to be, consistent with that. This is very much. So finally, I would like to note that this is my final slide. Ethiopia's regulatory environment is complex and dynamic, and it can pose challenge for startups. To thrive, startups need to proactively monitor, sometimes predictively monitor changes, build relationships, even with government officials, and leverage insights from legal experts to ensure compliance and adapt their strategies accordingly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kinda. I appreciate this presentation. Always, you always bring some amazing insight. I hope every startup company needs to have your information behind their pocket to be able to reach you very soon, because you'll be a good asset for companies like Tolo or Zimol or all these startup companies that need your expertise. Without further ado, I'm gonna bring our last but not least speaker today, Tolo. He's going to talk about Tolo Transport and the amazing transformation that they are doing in the transportation industry in Ethiopia. Tolo, I'll leave the floor for you.
Thank you, Ayob. This is a well-prepared dialogue, and I really like it, and I really want to appreciate Janice and you specifically for arranging this this dialogue with the diaspora community and with the entrepreneurs that are watching this through several streaming services, I think. So basically, can you see my screen?
We can see it.
Good. So my name is Tababa Salamon. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Tolo. So basically, Tolo works specifically on transforming transportation and logistics with the help of technology and innovation, specifically in East Africa, but to grow in Africa, that's the vision. Who is Tolo? So Tolo means fast in Amharic. I know most of you would understand this. We said Tolo because we could deliver products as fast as possible in intercity in Addis Ababa. So we operate using electric mobile vehicles that are basically e-bikes or two-wheelers that are based in Addis Ababa. And our main focus is working on affordable logistics and transportation with the help of sustainable job creation. We have been operating delivery service for almost a year and a half now. All our fleet are GPS tracked, and as I told you, they are electric fleet. And also, we are working on building a performance-based vehicle financing model for the drivers that are working with us, because, as I told you, the motorbikes are owned by Tolo, so that we could prove the point that this could work in the city. So my background is in GPS installing. So in 2019, the Addis Ababa Mayor Office banned all motorbikes in Addis Ababa. So they installed a directive that says all motorbikes should install GPS, and we started installing GPS in 2019. We installed almost 500 GPSs on motorbikes, but after a time, the market was saturated, and we just left and built Tolo because we had a data with the motorbikes that we already installed GPS for, and we assessed the market research with the motorbikes that we installed GPS on them, and most of them wanted to do transport, meaning to transport people from point A to point B. You're hearing me, right?
Yeah,
Yep,
we can hear
you're
you.
good. Yep.
Yeah, good. I just wanted to check it. So basically, we started with the motorbikes that we installed GPS for, but the biggest problem, as Kendaya was also mentioning earlier, is the regulation issue. We started with them, and we transported some amount of 1,350 people, and they really liked it. They really loved the service, but in the meantime, the government saw that and just shut down and banned the motorbike ride-hailing business in Addis Ababa. So we tried to negotiate with the government for almost 2 years because we believed it was a very sustainable business model, because we have been seeing people in a queue station for taxis, waiting and like finishing their whole energy in taxi stations, and when they go to their work, their energy is already drained out. And also, it's an alternative way of transportation, because if we dissect the transportation sector in Ethiopia, there are minibuses and buses that service the low income households, and when you go to the upper side, there are ride hailing services that are expected to be high income and middle income owners. Nowadays, middle income owners even doesn't use ride hailing services unless and otherwise they have different scenarios or urgencies. So we said the transportation could work, but that didn't work. We went to the mayor's office, and the mayor's office told us to do on the delivery side until then, and they will recheck this opportunity on the later days. So that's what we're working on, the delivery sector. So the biggest opportunity when we're working on the delivery sector that we have seen is the motorization rate in Ethiopia, right? Uh, 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 we have like more than 120 million people, but we have a registered vehicle of 1.2 million in the whole country. That's like 100 to 100 people to one car. So when we compare it to Kenya and Tanzania, that's by far the lowest number that we have seen. Kenya being the more progressive in the East Africa region. So we wanted to tap that opportunity basically. So the problem that we're trying to solve is basically the drivers lack to access an affordable asset financing, right? So basically, they are expected to pay the full amount payment, uh, So in a sense, if you want to buy a bike or a vehicle, you are expected to pay the full upfront cost to the supplier. And the second one being the microfinances and the saving credit associations in Addis Ababa have a repayment risk because they don't believe the gig worker to pay every day. The earning is not fixed and it varies, and so they have this foggy area that they don't trust. And as we have seen in our business, a lot of people need a reliable delivery service in a capacity because we believe there is no giant parcel delivery service in Ethiopia specifically. So the solution that we brought is we bought electric bikes and we financed it to the motorbikes in a worked-on model. That means that the payment of their bike will be backed by the delivery income they get every day, right? So we have already enabled a structured repayment for daily earning, meaning we take 70% and they take 30% every day. From that 70%, 20% is a delivery fee and 50% is an e-bike financing. So at the end of a year and a half, they will own the bike, and the commission would go higher for them. And as I told you, all motorbikes would be GPS tracked, and their performance will be monitored. And we have integrated platforms so that we could utilize to the fullest. When we see the market opportunity again in Ethiopia, we have like a rapid growth in urban delivery demand, specifically for an e-commerce sites that are selling on Telegram, TikTok, so forth and so on. So we have, Kirobel also mentioned it, we have high youth unemployment rates, almost 70% plus. That's a risky number for an economy like Ethiopia. And also government is also pushing for an electric mobility. A lot of bike lanes are being built these days with the corridor development. And uh, microfinances also need this structured financing for productive assets or product assets. So when we go to our tractions, we have 12 owned bikes that we bought before a year and a half to start the business. And we have almost 40 outsourced electric bikes that are working on the city and on their own bike. We have processed more than 50,000 deliveries till date, almost in a year, and we have 87.5 success rate in a year. This is not 4 months, sorry. So we have to check. We have to double check in a year. So the 12.5 unsuccessful rate is because of supply constraints. We have a huge supply constraint, and the demand is very growing because we are giving an affordable price, and I will mention later why we are giving an affordable price. And we have almost 67% gross margin profit. And we have already established application, Telegram bots, and dispatching process for the as an infrastructure for the business to survive. And we already have broken even before almost 5 months now. We have our competitive analysis is basically simple. We use electric bikes, and Ethiopia is the second cheapest electric provider in Ethiopia and in the world, next to Iran, right? So it's like 1 birr per kilowatt hour. We pay 17 birr for one bike in a month. You can't imagine. So that's like compared to the fuel ones, it's basically 5% to 100% difference rate in the middle. And we had Ashi Express as a competitor, but they have closed down, and yeah, they are out of the business because they used to be using the ICE ones or the combustion engine ones. That cost them a lot of operational cost. And Balderasu is working still now, but their price is very high. Most of their clients are businesses, but rather when you come to our Tolo business model, we're working for the MSMEs, or the ones, as I said, that are selling on TikTok and Telegram and a small e-commerce sites. So why now, right? Why are you pushing to the financing model? So we have proved operation model that could reduce the execution risk, and the demand is exceeding like we have never seen it, and we have a strong financial alignment with the drivers and microfinances, and we have already started a partnership with Bright Saving and Credit Association that they will finance bikes with only 10% down payment, and it will be pay-as-you-go lease-to-own model. So when you go to the risk management, because that's basically the main component when you come to asset management, so we would exclusively agree the drivers to work with us so that we could collect the data and take the commission out of their pockets so that they could pay up the bike's payment. And we will be able to reassign the asset if the driver is not accommodating the need, or if he's not fully engaged in the work, and we'll give that to another driver so that they could own the asset. That would decrease the default rate. And also we have structured the repayment collection, as I told you, because we know how much the driver is earning every day, and we also track them so that the performance will be very accurate. When it comes to the unit economics, our drivers earn at least 1,200 per day. The daily repayment will support this loan that would help them, and we would also be working on subscription models so that it will be a fixed payment that will be easier for them. And for the microfinances and the SACCOs, it will be predictable cash flow for all of the partners. So yeah, I think Jonas mentioned it earlier, but this is a good fact that we should consider when it comes to investing in a car. Like, some family members buy, even from the diaspora community, buy a car for their family member, so that they could earn a little bit amount of payment every day, so that they could earn their life saving by themselves, rather than sending money every month so that they could live off. So when we compare the same amount of money to bikes and to the cars, it gives us a different business model. You purchase let's say a Vitz in Addis Ababa, that would be like 1.5 to 2 million birr, and the driver would earn 3,000 birr per day, and the payback time would be 5 years, right? But when we come to e-bikes, the purchasing cost would be like 10%, 10% of the car. That would be like 150 birr, and if one driver earns around 1,000 birr per day, as I mentioned earlier, and 10 bikes would be earning 10,000 birr per day. So, and the payback time would be around 1 year or 1 year and a half. So for the diaspora community, we have a proposal that would be easier for them, because we know the diaspora community sends around 6 billion USDs every year annually. So that's basically to support family members that are staying in Ethiopia. So why not we can create a job opportunity for them and own an asset while they work and earn their income every day. So it's a simple process that we can agree on how much down payment would the diaspora pay for his family member, and we have partnered with a lot of delivery companies, including us, and so that would create a momentum for the drivers so that they could work a lot of jobs every day. We don't want to a spin-off, and we don't want to exclusive this deal, because we believe a lot of delivery companies could reap from this business model. So we are focusing on the financing model from the business model I'm discussing. So we have raised almost 120,000 USD dollars from angel investors who are local, and we're seeking at least 400K so that we could finance bikes, and well, we can advance our tech, and of course hire key talent employees, and also it could go to marketing and ads. So thank you for this amazing opportunity, and this is Tolo. Thank you.
Thank you, Tababa. It was a very interesting presentation. I know your sector is very crucial for Ethiopian youths to be able to get, this unemployment be tackled in such a systematic way. I think diaspora has to be really happy with this approach, because it's going to be killing two birds in one. Every diaspora is helping their family one way or the other, but this is going to help them to support their family in a sustainable way. And really appreciate your presentation and the job you did. Thank you so much for the opportunity here to come in to present this. I do have one question that we just received from our viewers for, I think, Kiribel about, it says, what's the subscription fee per student for the online tutorial? If you have something to say, that would be nice.
Yeah. So we have 3 subscription models. I am sharing my screen to show you our pricing page so that they can also go and check it. So you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the first is we have 350 Ethiopian birr per month. So one student, for example, a grade 9 student, would pay 350 Ethiopian birr per month, and they would be able to get the full grade 9 subjects like maths, physics, chemistry, biology, economics. This is basically a 1 hour. If you hire a tutor at your home, it's like a 1 hour payment that you pay. It's a per hour fee, but we have made it into a month's fee, and then you would be able to access all of the subjects in this fee. And then we have a 6 months and a year model. Actually, the year one is our most famous one. Our highest peak is September and October, because all students try to buy the year subscription at the beginning of the year, so they can use this as the payment information.
All right. Thanks so much, Kirobel. I think with the interest of time, we are 5 minutes outside of our schedule time. I would like to say thank you, everyone, for coming here and presenting this to the diaspora community. Big shout out to Jonas, as usual. He is a driving factor for this. And same thing for Kindaya. We look forward to do similar kind of engagement conversation in the future. I wish you all good luck, and thanks so much for coming. With this, I'm going to end our today's presentation. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Yo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yo.